what GM consumers want. And the company could back off if consumers are not ready to make the switch to EVs by then. And a new life for 3 Disney films that were available to stream on Disney TV Plus during the pandemic lockdowns. Now, Disney will release Pixar's Soul, Turning Red, and Luca in theaters next year. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a last check of the traffic next. It's brought to you by Olympic Medical Center and Leeds Farm Supply.
As leaves fall and temperatures drop, that means cold and flu season is here. But don't worry. The best defense is a good offense, and we have 2 ways to keep you healthy. First, regular hand washing can help keep cold and flu viruses at bay. Second, protect yourself and your loved ones by getting your flu shot. It's safe, it's effective, and it's your best bet against the flu. So, wash those hands, get a flu vaccine, and let's beat the cold and flu together. Brought to you by Olympic Medical Center.
The premium compact powerhouse is here. The new MT225S from LS Tractor. 25 horsepower, 2-pedal hydrostatic transmission, and a highly featured operator platform. Now available with dealer-installed cab. All backed by the legendary LS Tractor warranty. Demo the new MT225S at your local dealer today.
Find the perfect LS Tractor for you at Leeds Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated. Call Leeds at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor, simply more.
Newsradio KONP, traffic and roads.
One last time, up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go this hour. That's where Dante's standing by with a check of the roads for us. Good afternoon, Dante.
Good afternoon. At this time, the only reported issue that we have is on Highway 112 at Pillar Point, east of Pillar Point to west of 113 due to flooding. The Hood Canal Bridge is currently open to vehicle traffic with no scheduled closures at this time. All Clallam Transit buses are on regular routes. For ferry information, go to Washington State Department of Transportation website for real-time information. This is Dante live at Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Dante. Well, music history made this week when Brenda Lee's classic song Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree hit number 1 for the first time ever since being released 65 years ago. Yeah, it makes Brenda actually the oldest artist to ever top the charts at the age of 78. Brenda was only 13 when the song came out in 1958. For the 65th anniversary, she released a fun YouTube video where she lip syncs to the original while family, friends, and Santa enjoy the holidays around her. There are some cameos from Trisha Yearwood and Tanya Tucker, and it has already had more than 3 million views. How about that? That's not bad. Well, how many times a day do you worry about your pets? A new poll found the average is 3 times a day. And a typical pet owner goes into pet panic mode 6 times a month, so once every 5 days. Most of the stuff we worry about doesn't end up being serious. The top pet panic causes are unexpected throwing up, seeing them fall off of a chair or something high up, and when your dog slips its leash or your cat tries to run out the door. Other causes include that they don't want to eat, they don't come when you call their name, they're not as playful as usual, and they do get outside or escape the yard. When we're not home, our top worries are, did they get into the trash or something they're not supposed to be into? Are they sad or lonely right now? Are they hungry? And could they have gotten outside? A company called Tractive that makes pet GPS trackers did the survey. And here's a fun last question to end on. If your cat or dog did escape and have a night out on their own, do you think they'd enjoy themselves? Well, 60% of pet owners said, yeah, they probably would like a night out.
It's bad enough that tens of millions of us as adults use Google and social media to diagnose medical symptoms. But if you have teens, things are even worse. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. There's no debate. Never trust social media, especially for medical advice. While you're not looking, your teens are doing just that. They're diagnosing themselves with ADHD, clinical depression, autism, anxiety disorders, sexual and gender identification issues. And no matter how hard you try to protect your kids from social media dangers, its powerful algorithms work tirelessly 24/7 to counter you, outsmart you, and in general, hook your kids in the name of driving their traffic and revenues. If you haven't had this conversation with your teens and young adults yet, tell them this today. Medical advice from social media is not only worthless, it's life-threatening. Enter to win an iPhone 15 valued at $799. Enter now at commando.com/win. Dell's Cyber Monday event is their biggest sale of the year. Shop limited time deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13 engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top brand accessories. Shop now at Dell.com/deals to take advantage of huge savings and get free shipping. Again, that's Dell.com/deals for huge savings today. Dell.com/deals. Ghosting, defined as a friend not responding to a text, or worse, a lover. Or you just read someone's social media post, but you never hit follow. Don't be a ghoster. Wherever you hang out on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, go to my profile and follow me. My posts are the best. You're going to sound smarter. You're going to know the moment a data breach happens. So where you're laying in bed tonight scrolling through your social media, you'll find me everywhere at Kim Commando. Remember, it's not Kim Kardashian. It's me, the other, smaller Kim. That's...
For what it's worth, I'm Sherry Preston. When it comes to grandparents helping take care of little ones, more and more families are starting to deal with different expectations.
I think at times I dreamed a little bit like the movies where the family unit would be around and parents and grandparents would hold the children and babysit.
But for Dr. Leslie Dobson,
my dad lives in Mexico a lot of the year. So we have a lot of FaceTime and phone calls, and the kids love Grandpa, but Grandpa doesn't come to the soccer games.
Her dad, Ted, saying he feels like he earned his retirement.
Yeah, I do feel a little bit guilty that I'm not more present with the kids, sort of in a personal, in-person relationship.
Relationship expert Dr. Melanie Ross Mills says the key is communication.
I think that helps build empathy. I think it helps us be a little more compassionate.
For what it's worth, Sherry Preston, ABC News.
When running a business, your employees can create all kinds of interesting situations, like somebody not showing up when they're supposed to. You better talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated U.S.-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly, team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Visit Bambi.com and type freedom under radio when you sign up. Spelled BAM, BEE.com, freedom under radio.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
The North Peninsula's news. The North Peninsula's talk. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles, Sequim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The block against hundreds of military promotions now lifted by GOP Senator Tommy Tuberville and on track for confirmation.
Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville had refused to let the Senate confirm several hundred critical Pentagon leadership positions until the military ended its policy of paying transportation for female service members stationed in states that restricted or banned abortion. Pentagon officials saying Tuberville's 10-month promotion blockade put national security at risk, Senator Tuberville ending that hold because Democrats were about to vote to change the rules to find a way around him.
ABC's Andy Field. Israeli forces pressing forward on a new offensive in southern Gaza and dropping leaflets, it says, to tell Palestinians to evacuate to what it calls safe zones. UNICEF says there is no safe place for the civilians. Israel's prime minister, in an address to Israelis, says the only way to bring home the remaining 122 hostages is through massive military force in Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu expressing outrage over the failure of human rights groups and nations to condemn the rape and assault of women by Hamas during the October 7th attacks.
I say to the women's rights organizations, to the human rights organizations, you've heard of the rape of Israeli women? Horrible atrocities, sexual mutilation? Where the hell are you?
The White House urging Congress to approve critical funding for Ukraine, saying its forces are running out of time and money against Russia.
He's asking for about $60 billion in aid for Ukraine. And there is this really intense message coming from the White House in the form of a letter from the White House Budget Director, Shalanda Young, saying that the time is running out and that money is running out for Ukraine. But House Republicans and Republicans in the Senate want there to be a bigger focus on the border, and they're saying they are not going to pass that aid for Ukraine until there is more movement on those border talks.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze, you're listening to ABC News.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
On Capitol Hill, FBI Director Christopher Wray urging lawmakers to renew sweeping surveillance powers under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA. Wray defending renewal of those powers, calling 702 vital to national security, including threats from Iran and China.
Stripping the FBI of its 702 authorities would be a form of unilateral disarmament.
Section 702 set to expire later this month. U.S. employers posted 8.7 million job openings in October, the fewest since March of 2021. Analysts say while openings remain at a healthy pace, the drop is a sign that hiring is cooling amid higher interest rates. Math scores around the world are dropping, but the U.S. is lagging behind.
In a global math test known as the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA, scores among American students were subpar. 15-year-olds in the U.S. scored below students from the UK, Australia, and Germany, and well behind higher-performing students in Singapore, South Korea, and Estonia. The numbers show student math scores in the U.S. have fallen sharply since 2018 and were lower than 20 years ago, but the numbers were better in reading and science, where American students scored above average internationally. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
A lawyer for Prince Harry challenging the British government's decision to strip the royal of his security detail, which happened after he gave up his status as a working member of the royal family. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
The holiday season is right around the corner, so give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a STIHL. With powerful trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws to place under the tree, the STIHL Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone. Save $20 on the BGA 57 battery-powered blower. Visit your local STIHL dealer or go to stihlusa.com/gift guide. Real STIHL. Find yours. Now $179.99 was $199.99 MSRP. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Airport Garden Center invites you in for festive holiday events happening all season long. Don't miss the annual Wreaths and Wine Workshop, Sunday, December 10th at Airport Garden Center. It's guaranteed to be an afternoon full of holiday cheer during the Wreaths and Wine event, as the airport elves guide you through the creation of your own personalized wreath while you sip on delicious local wine. This workshop will provide you all the guidance and essentials for you to create a beautiful wreath, including the wreath frame, wire, boughs, and hanger, plus 2 glasses of wine. It's a great time to create a very special holiday decoration to enjoy all season long and spend time with friends and family. Tickets for wreaths and wine are $69, available online at airportgarden.biz. That's airportgarden.biz. Come enjoy all the magic of the season at Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners, and creating memories since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by Remax Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results, 457-6600. 2 cases of an unidentified canine respiratory infection in dogs now confirmed in our state. And the state's Department of Agriculture continues to collect information on 14 other reports. The infectious illness has been reported in about a dozen states so far. The American Veterinary Medical Association said on its website that symptoms of the unknown canine respiratory disease include chronic inflammation of the trachea that can last 6 to 8 weeks and is not helped by antibiotics.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. High temperatures reach up to 52 this afternoon under overcast skies with scattered rain showers likely. Winds out of the east 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered rain showers likely tonight. Lows level off around 42. Cloudy skies expected. Scattered rain showers again tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 49. Overcast skies. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 54 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
Hey, welcome to the program. Got lots covered up. I, in fact, have a very strange cacophony of a program today. And then in the first bit, we're going to be talking about the PA Symphony. In the middle, we're going to talk about some naval history of World War II. And then, of all things, we're back to music with Dee Snider of Twisted Sisters going to be on in the last part of the show today.
Seriously?
Well, Amanda Bacon got to sit down. I didn't get to talk to him, but it's a good interview. It's it's actually about free speech, but there we go. That said, let's start with one of my favorite guests, as always, Jonathan Pasternak, who is the conductor and also the artistic director for the Port Angeles Symphony. Jonathan, good to see you again.
Great to be here, Todd.
You're here mainly because you've got a big concert. You got the biggest one usually of the year coming up this weekend.
That's absolutely right. It's our holiday concert, Saturday, December 9th. And tickets are going like, well, hotcakes, I guess.
Something like that.
Or whatever is the holiday dish. And I think we'll have at least 900 people in the evening.
Excellent. Why should someone come? If they've never heard this, never done this, I mean, it's the ultimate get into the spirit of the season.
Absolutely. And, well, first off, just to witness the spectacle of all of those people coming together in the Performing Arts Center, the high school auditorium. I mean, just imagine hundreds and hundreds of people there, in a good way, and the stage full of the Port Angeles Symphony making this glorious big sound.
And we should also mention there's some audience participation because you're bringing back the carol sing part of this show, right?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, for the first time since 2019, December 2019, we're finally going to have our sing-along, and that's towards the end of our concert usually.
Okay. Now, you have a guitar virtuoso who's performing as part of this concert. Let's talk about that.
That's right. He is such a phenomenal musician. Just all-around musician. He actually started on bassoon, he told me.
Of all things.
Of all things, yeah. Not to disparage bassoon.
No.
Love bassoon. Colin Davin, and he was a last-minute substitute a couple of years ago, and he did the real famous Rodrigo Concerto de Aranjuez Concierto, and he just blew us away. And he's such a wonderful guy to work with. He's kind-hearted. And I was just amazed at his musicianship, in his phrasing. It was so natural, so fluid, and just a joy to make music with.
So tell us about what he's going to play this weekend.
Yes, he's going to play what's known as Joaquin Rodrigo's other guitar concerto. So it's not as well known, but it really should be. It's the Fantasia para un gentil hombre, Fantasia for a gentleman. And actually the gentleman in question is Segovia, the great guitar virtuoso of the 20th century, who asked Rodrigo to do this piece. And I think he also gave Rodrigo the idea of of the music that he wanted. It's from this. It's fascinating. It's from this Renaissance Baroque guitar composer and also guitar virtuoso whose works are still around today and used by guitarists as learning tools. And Segovia asked Rodrigo to do this piece, this concerto, based on these tunes. So the music it sounds very archaic, but in a really magical, glorious way. And I thought it would be a nice fit with the holiday season.
Exactly, yeah. And also the opportunity to play, accompany a guitarist. That's a kind of a unique sound, one that you don't normally get a chance to do when you bring in somebody who's doing a solo, having a guitar show up at a symphony concert.
Absolutely. And yes, we normally do, and it's an acoustic guitar, obviously, but we will have a little bit of amplification. Because we
you're going to need it.
We need to find a balance. Although the orchestra that Rodrigo wrote this for is kind of a chamber orchestra.
Yeah.
It's only 5 winds plus strings, and we're using all the strings because they make a nice lush sound. And of course, we'll have to find the balance and everything. It's very interesting. Guitarists have an interesting, well, you know this in your own experience, an interesting sense of time sometimes in stretching and just this kind of thing. And sometimes, well, at least you're hopeful that it's going to make a lot of sense. and when Colin plays, it always makes this fantastic musical sense.
A little bit of calisthenics for the conductor, though, in this.
Yeah, yes, there might be. Yeah.
You're going to earn your keep. That's what I'm saying. Right?
Exactly. And just know that when you see me conducting less, that just means I'm sweating more.
Yeah. All right. Very good. So that's a big part of the concert. Tell us about some of the other pieces that are the holiday-themed parts. What are you going to be performing for us?
Well, I always try to find music that's festive in some way, not necessarily having to do with Christmas time or the holiday season or winter or snow or whatever, what have you, hot chocolate. But I thought since we're doing the Rodrigo, let's do some Spanish, at least Spanish influenced pieces. And we're going to open with Emmanuel Chabrier. He's a French composer, but it's a piece based on Spanish dances and songs, and it's called España Rhapsody, and it's a real great whammo-bammo beginning of a concert, and it's very exciting and wonderfully orchestrated. And then we're going to do another wonderfully orchestrated piece by 20th century composer Malcolm Arnold, British composer. These are 4 Scottish dances, and you might ask, what does that have to do with Christmas? And for me, for some reason, I just associate music from the British Isles with Christmas time. I don't
get
know
that.
Yeah,
No,
you do,
I
right?
understand
I
that.
can't quite explain
it's
it.
kind of the Coventry Carol stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, exactly. All of that, and it's just so it's a fun, rollicking piece, and it's a virtuoso piece for the orchestra, and they love playing it. And then the Rodrigo, and on the second half, it's almost all holiday themed music. First, we're going to do a piece. It's rarely done. It's by a composer who's not known, Samuel Coleridge Taylor, not to be confused with the poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Interestingly enough, I think his some publicists decided to put a hyphen in his name just to make sure that people. Anyway, he is very interesting. He was of African parentage. He was a British citizen. He died very young. Tragically, I think 37. But anyway, he wrote some glorious music. This was a piece that he wrote as incidental music that was actually never performed in his lifetime, but it was found and it was arranged by a band leader in Britain. And it's this wonderful kind of symphonic Christmas overture. So we start with that. And then Al Harris, who is our education program director for Adventures in Music, which you know very well, has arranged something he calls a whimsical Christmas. So it's like a polar opposite to the Coleridge Taylor in that one is a serious symphonic setting of Christmas things, and the other one is really lighthearted and fun. Then we have our sing-along, and then finally we have On the Beautiful Blue Danube by Johann Strauss Jr.
Course.
Of course.
Going to finish with something just beautiful, and we all know.
Exactly,
Right, yeah.
exactly. And I like it. I like to put it at the end of these holiday concerts because of the Vienna Philharmonic tradition of the New Year's Day concert. So it means New Year's to me.
Yeah. Very good. Well, this is a holiday concert. It's meant to encompass all of the holidays.
That's
right?
what I think, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Still some tickets available, but it sounds like you may have a full house before we get there. So, folks, get to Port Book and News. You can get tickets there still, I'm assuming,
Yes.
as well as through the office.
Yes, absolutely. And through our website, portangelussymphony.org, and at the door.
Okay.
And also, if you're listening to this and you don't have your tickets yet, contact us either by telephone at 360-457-5579 or send our email to pasymphony@olepen and tell us that you heard me on the radio today, and you can get 2 tickets for the price of 1.
Can't beat that. For the hottest concert going for this weekend, at least.
We like to think so, yeah.
Right on. Okay. After you're done with all of that, you've got a lot of things lined up into the next year. You want to give us a little tease, including you've got a big thing coming in March, I think you're going to get to, right?
Thank you, Todd. Yeah, absolutely. And, that you were alluding to is our big fundraiser of the year. We're going to do, for the first time, an event at the new Field Arts and Events Hall. And this is going to be a gala fundraiser, an elegant dinner, and it's going to have music and some special guests. And I'll tell you, I'm announcing it for the first time, Alexander Tutanov, who's one of our favorite soloists, wonderful pianist, is going to be coming up from Oregon, from his home in Oregon, to support us and to play a little bit. Also, a soprano soloist, Kristen Vogel, who is singing in the Brahms Requiem at the end of the year and has done some things here. Wonderful voice. She's going to do some opera and some light stuff. Linda Dowdell will be there with a piano jazz trio, and also our PA Symphony String Quartet.
So a whole wide fun night, it actually sounds like.
Absolutely.
It's coming up in March.
Yeah,
so
March
stay
8th.
tuned, right?
Yes.
You'll have more details. What's the actual date?
Yes, March the 8th. It's a Friday. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
And we'll talk more about that if we get a little bit closer as
Yeah,
well.
sure.
Other concerts coming up next. What's next for you guys on the stage?
Absolutely. We're just getting started. So we have 3 more symphony concerts in 2024 for this season and 2 more chamber orchestra doubles. We also have our Young Artist competition in January. And I'll be coming to talk about the January chamber and the Young Artist competition. But if you're interested in seeing what these programs are, please go to our website and check it out. All the information is there, and really, we're looking forward to some really beautiful music.
You've got some great stuff cooked up at the symphony. You guys are doing wonderful things there, and hats off to you. And I know it's not just you; it's a whole bunch of folks that help put this all together. But I think we should be giddy at the fact that we have an opportunity to hear some of this.
Yes, absolutely, and yes, it is a lot of people who do it. And as I like to say, I don't really make any sound, do I? You know, I mean, if there's no orchestra there, you don't hear the conductor.
You just sweat when the.
Exactly.
We're just going to watch you now and say, "Well, he's not moving as much. He's sweating a lot."
He's sweating. Exactly.
Well, you guys look pretty good for 91.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you very much.
Continue on.
That's why I shaved my head, so you don't see the white.
Very good. That's very good. All right, Jonathan Pasternak, let's get that place sold out. We should point out, you also have the dress rehearsal, too, on Saturday, correct? Is that still available? That's available, too, this weekend.
Exactly. We have a public dress rehearsal. It's at 10 a.m., and the ticket prices are a lot lower than the concert. Of course, you don't get us dressed up in our tuxedos, and we might actually do some rehearsal during the rehearsal, but you will hear all of the music that's on the concert program. And a lot of people aren't comfortable driving at night, and we understand that. And tickets are really selling for that too. But we should get between 350, 400 people in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Get tickets at the door for that.
Yes.
All right.
You can get them online too.
And online as well.
Yeah.
All right. Easy as that. Jonathan, great talking to you. I know we're going to chat in a couple more weeks about the next go-around with the symphony.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Todd, and happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a break. We're going to be back with more right after this.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
This is Jonathan Pasternak, Artistic Director of the Port Angeles Symphony. Join me and 65 of our community's finest musicians for the Symphony's annual holiday concert, Saturday, December 9th at the Port Angeles Performing Arts Center. Come experience the thrill of live orchestral music while enjoying festive and seasonal selections, plus the return of our Christmas Carol sing-along. Our special guest artist will be guitar virtuoso Colin Davin, performing Joaquin Rodrigo's Fantasia para un Gentilhombre. Our holiday concert on Saturday, December 9th is the Port Angeles Symphony's most popular concert of the year, so don't miss out. Get your tickets today online at portangelessymphony.org, by phone at 457-5579, or in person at Port Book and News in downtown Port Angeles. See you at the Symphony.
If you're an avid DIYer or builder, it's a necessity to have the right tool for the job. Makita and Milwaukee Power Tools have more than 200 right tools for the job, all running on their own battery platforms. That means a battery from your Makita or Milwaukee drill will also fit the battery to your same brand circular saw, leaf blower, grinder, or any of the other 196 tools they make. At Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel's, we stock the largest selection of Makita and Milwaukee Power Tools in the area, and we'll back it up by matching any non-promotional advertised price. These are not the power tools of 10 or even 5 years ago. The technology has grown to allow for greater power, longer battery life, and greater versatility. If you haven't handled a power tool in a while, we invite you to come on in and try one out for yourself. Make your next project that much easier with a Makita or Milwaukee Power Tool from Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel's.
Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
Oh, the many things we love about Sequim. Yes, the sunshine, charming downtown, the simple life, and A1 Auto Parts in downtown Sequim. A1 Auto Parts and Marine has been locally owned longer than the Bypass has been there, delivering quality parts with professional expert service. You can rely on A1 Auto Parts to keep you and your car on the road. Find the experts at A1 in downtown Sequim.
Up next, a bit of naval history from World War II, and this is a fascinating story that I had no clue about that is now outlined in the new book called Strike of the Sailfish, Two Sister Submarines and the Sinking of a Japanese Aircraft Carrier. But there's a whole lot more to the story than just that. My guest is Stephen Moore. He's the author of this. Stephen, glad to have you on board for a couple of segments.
Hey, Todd, thanks. Glad to be here.
Now, the book just came out. I think I'm going to let you explain a bit of kind of the backstory of this fascinating tale. I mean, not only does it have one twist, it's got 2 or 3 twists in it.
Yeah, I mean, you've actually got 2 sister submarines, but 3 names involved, because in 1939 they were launched as the USS Squalus and the USS Sculpin. Same type of boat, same characteristics, torpedo tubes and everything the same. And to make a long story short, there was a tragic sinking shortly after the launching during a training dive. Squalus floods and sinks to the bottom. About half the crew drowns in the process. But the sister submarine Sculpin finds their rescue buoy and brings in the rescue and salvage ships. And 33 men are trapped on the bottom of the ocean for 39 hours before they were brought to the surface with a new invention called a diving bell. And so the Squalus is refloated by the Navy, brought back into port, put back into commission. And when they resurfaced her with these buoys, President Roosevelt saw a photo that said looked like a sailfish bursting from the ocean, fighting off its tethers. And so they recommissioned the sunken Squalus, refloated as the sailfish. And so fast forward 4 years into the war, Sculpin and Sailfish are making their war patrols, attacking and sinking Japanese merchant ships and warships. And that's kind of the first half of this twisted tale of these 2 ships, if you will.
And what comes to be is these 2 ships become the first to sink a Japanese aircraft carrier.
Yes, actually, on her last patrol, the Sculpin is first to go out to sea. The Sailfish is still making some repairs in Pearl Harbor. And so this is November of 1943. The Sculpin and her crew go out and attack a Japanese convoy, but in the process, they're force deep, they're depth charged severely a number of times, and it so badly damages the submarine, flooding, internal problems that they can't control, and leaks, that ultimately the skipper decides, we're going to have to battle surface, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to fight it out on the surface with this Japanese destroyer, which is just covered with all kinds of heavy artillery, big guns, versus one little 3-inch gun on a submarine and a few machine guns. So it's not a fair fight, but the crew has a chance to fight it out. It's pretty much a one-sided duel from the get-go. The Sculpin is wrecked by Japanese shells from the destroyer, killing the skipper and most of the senior officers, until ultimately the senior surviving officer makes the fateful decision to abandon ship, jump overboard, and we're going to pull the plug, basically, scuttle the boat, send her to the bottom on her last dive so that the Japanese cannot capture this submarine. And in the process, the Wolfpack commander on board Sculpin elects to go down with the ship because he knows too much classified information that could be tortured out of him. And John Cromwell ultimately receives a posthumous Medal of Honor. So Sculpin's down to the bottom, and the surviving men are picked up by the Japanese destroyer and taken back to Truk Atoll, which is essentially the equivalent of America's Pearl Harbor, an advanced elite military base. And these submarine survivors are kept as POWs for about 10 days before they're ultimately loaded onto a convoy of aircraft carriers for passage back to Japan, to the mainland. So that's where the story picks up again.
And at that point, we bring back the sailfish. Take us from there, because the encounter, this is the third, I guess, twist in all of this tale.
Yeah, so the sailfish is out on her war patrol. She has no knowledge that the Sculpin, her sister boat, is what they call overdue and presumed lost. She hasn't come back to port. She's been sunk in this enemy surface engagement, and half her crew survived, and they're prisoners of war. They're heading back to Japan on these carriers. Well, these are capital warships, and U.S. intelligence is pretty good by this point in cracking the code and tracking enemy fleet movements. And so they send out what is called an ultra dispatch, a top secret code message that only the skipper and the communications officer on the submarine are allowed to read. And it says basically this carrier convoy is leaving on this date, and on these particular dates is expected to be at these particular points in the Pacific based on the intelligence we've cracked. So the sailfish skipper gets this ultra dispatch, and so his boat is sent out there along with others to try to track this carrier fleet. And as fate would have it, it's in the midst of a typhoon. So they're on the fringes of huge waves, nasty weather, to where the boat can't even be stabilized. And they're pursuing this Japanese carrier convoy into the typhoon.
Amazing. But they're successful.
They are successful. There is a series of 3 different torpedo attacks carried out by the sailfish over a period of about 9 hours. And one of the guys I highlight in the book is the radar operator, Bill Dillon. He's still with us today. He's 99 years of age. And we're going to be doing a couple talks this week at the Nimitz Museum in Fredericksburg and a couple other places. And he talks about how they had no idea what they were tracking other than a key convoy that probably had carriers. So he's looking at his radar screen in this typhoon, looking for the biggest pips or blips, if you will, on the screen. And they're firing blindly in this storm their torpedoes against the biggest potential targets out there. And it's not until long after daybreak that they finally see through the periscope and from topside that they have indeed hit a carrier multiple times. But three dogged attacks, and the carrier Chuyo is eventually sunk with a huge loss of lives. Only about a couple hundred of the Japanese sailors survived. And as we mentioned, the Sculpin prisoners of war, that Sculpin being the boat that helped save the sailfish back when she was squaless, these Americans are on board. 21 of them are on board the sunken ship. Ultimately, only one man, George Rochek, survives the sinking, of both the Chuyo and 2 weeks previously having survived the sinking of his own submarine, Sculpin. And he finishes out the war as a POW. I got to interview some of the Sculpin guys years ago, so I do include a lot of their stories, what they went through, the abuse, the trauma.
Amazing.
Some terrible stuff, but you're seeing both the Sculpin and the Sailfish points of view, and even some Japanese points of view, as all this is unwinding.
All right, hold your thought. I want to take a break. I want to come back and let's talk about putting this book together and a bit more about that as we continue with the author of Strike of the Sailfish, Stephen Moores. My guest will be back with more with him right after this.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Medicare open enrollment is here October 15th through December 7th, and if you're like most people on Medicare, you have questions. The statewide health insurance benefits advisors, known as SHEBA, can help inform you of your Medicare rights and options and see if you qualify for help with cost. SHEBA is a free, unbiased service provided by the Washington State Office of Insurance Commissioner. Get help today. Call SHEBA 1-800-562-6900 or visit insurance.wa.gov.
I don't know about you, but when someone says something about the 1980s, I still think that was only 20 years ago, not 4 decades ago. My point is this. If you're one of those people that says, we just updated our blinds a couple years ago, it might actually be longer than you think. Update and save money now with 25% off your order at the Blind Store by McCrory. Plus, get free installation. The most styles from the most popular brands, installed by the most trusted professionals at the Blind Store by McCrory in Squim.
Sail away to Victoria, BC on the Coho to see the magic of Christmas at the Butch Art Gardens. Stroll through the 12 days of Christmas displays with nearly 1 million twinkling lights from December 1st through the 31st. Overnight packages from $169 USD per person, based on double occupancy. Packages include ferry fare, a hotel stay in Victoria, and admission and shuttle to the Butch Art Gardens. What a great gift for a loved one or yourself. Learn more at cohoferry.com.
Hey, Clallam County, PA Panto is back. This year, we're catching up with Ariel. She's middle-aged and might need the number of a good lawyer. Come join us in the undersea kingdom of Pisht. You'll romp with mermaids, and the squid, and some sea monkeys. Triton is into self-care. Ogai is plotting a hostile takeover. And Ethel just wants it all to make sense. PA Panto returns. Go to jffa.org for tickets and information.
The Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. Western Washington, not the only area of the state under a flood watch after last week's winter weather. The National Weather Service has a flood watch in effect through Thursday in parts of northeastern Washington. Heavy rains are expected to raise the risk of river, stream, and localized flooding in low-lying areas. The rain is expected to melt the snow from last week, increasing runoff. The flood watch covers Spokane and Pullman. A Tacoma special education school closing its doors as a result of abuse allegations. The Northwest School of Innovative Learning facing a state investigation following a report from the Seattle Times and ProPublica in 2022 that stated staff members injured students that would be considered vulnerable and that students were also not being given the most basic elements of education. An investigation has been opened after a boy died from drowning in a swamp after running from police in Lakewood. Police say the boy was driving a stolen vehicle Saturday night when officers began to pursue. The car came to a stop at a dead end with all occupants of the vehicles jumping out in an attempt to flee. They all ran towards a nearby swamp. Police found and detained 2 of the teens, but a third boy refused to leave the water. Officers later found him unresponsive and submerged in 3 feet of water. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. High temperatures reach up to 52 this afternoon under overcast skies with scattered rain showers likely. Winds out of the east, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scattered rain showers likely tonight. Lows level off around 42. Cloudy skies expected. Scattered rain showers again tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 49. Overcast skies. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 54 degrees.
My guest, Stephen Moore, he is the author of the new book, just out, Strike of the Sailfish, Two Sister Submarines and the Sinking of a Japanese Aircraft Carrier. As we talked earlier, this has a crazy twist and turn and another twist to it as well. During the break, Stephen and I were talking about there's been a lot written about the original story, the rescuing of the sailfish, the squalish and the sailfish, first part of the story, but I think most folks don't know the rest of the story, which we talked about, and that is this prisoner of war exchange, that happened, and then the aircraft carrier and how it's the same submarines that were involved in all of this tale as well. So that said, Stephen, how did you happen upon this story so that you could get, researching on it and to put it into this book? Take us kind of through that part.
And it's kind of funny this came back around because years ago I'd done another World War II book where I did a lot of interviewing of prisoners of war, and a lot of those were submarine veterans because the Japanese particularly abused and tortured aviators and submariners when they captured them, trying to find out everything classified they could on radar and any kind of technology that was out there. So when your submarine did not return and you were captured as a POW, a lot of times you were kept for 6 months or even a year or more in a special concentration camp in Japan where they interrogated and tortured you to get information, and you were not reported to the Red Cross. So you were still missing in action until such time that you were moved to a labor camp. So I'd interviewed some of these sculpin guys years ago, and I knew about the horrific things they went through. I knew about what they were feeling when they were on these carriers, feeling these torpedoes dump into them. And I got to interview George Rochek, on what it felt like to try to escape from the innards of a ship that's going down where nobody there is going to be friendly to you to try to help you escape. But I didn't know as much about the sailfish. And then as fate would have it, about 2 years ago, I'm on a flight to England, and I see a guy wearing a submarine veteran's jacket, and I see the name Sailfish, and we struck up a conversation when the plane landed, and he was stunned that I knew of George Rochek by name and the events that happened, because at the time, Bill Dillon did not know what happened. No one on the Sailfish knew that there were American POWs on these carriers. They found that out, tragically and sadly after the war. And those who survived, they began having reunions, the Squalus, Sailfish, and Sculpin, like a multi-boat reunion, if you will. And they learned the stories of what it was like when these cargo holds down below being abused and whatnot. So to see both sides of the story really fascinated me. And after talking with Bill, I just decided
we're getting into, you just knew you had to start following a path, and lo and behold, a tremendously huge, different story emerged.
Yeah, and fortunately for me, Bill is just tremendously able to recall facts. He's in great physical shape. He's 99. He'll be 100 years old next year. The last guy living that made this carrier attack, either from the Sculpin or the Sailfish. So, yeah, he's one of a kind, and guys like him are few and far between. So when I get the chance to meet a veteran like this that really has good memory and wants to tell his story, I definitely jump on it. And I encourage others to do the same that get the opportunity, because this stuff's golden. And once it's gone, and their stories go with them, unfortunately. But aside from that, I did dig up some diaries and personal papers from some of the other crewmen, some firsthand stories. So it helped flesh out some of what happened on the Sailfish, aside from just what Bill was able to tell me.
What struck you in talking with Bill? Was he shocked by this story as he learned it? I mean, how did he kind of explain things to you as this unfolded for him as somebody who lived through this whole thing?
Yeah, and he'll talk about that, surviving depth charge attacks and a couple of near fatal events. One we cover in the book where a diving officer made a miscalculation in a routine test dive off Pearl Harbor, nearly put the Sailfish on the bottom of the ocean, just as it had happened with the Squalus back in 1939. So things like that still raised the hair on his neck. he will still tell you he's troubled and has PTSD for thinking of the people they killed, especially that some Americans perished when that carrier went down. But at the time, they were doing their job. They were doing what they were told to do. He was an electronics expert. He did his job well. There's a lot of backstories to this. You read in the book if you pick it up. You got a new skipper on this patrol for Sailfish, on this carrier patrol. The one prior was not as valiant. He was not bold in his attacks. In fact, he ran from most attacks that he could have made, to the point where there was near mutiny, and half the officers were shuffled off the Sailfish when she got back to Pearl Harbor. And you got a lot of new crewmen and an almost new wardroom full of officers on this patrol, but they gelled, they bonded, and they were a tough group. So, Bill will tell you he's proud of what they accomplished. And the last 5 patrols that, he did, especially the last 3, they received the Presidential Unit Citation and numerous other awards. So they were a very accomplished crew.
And submariners, a much different breed of folks as well. And I'm sure that what little I've read of the book so far, it does show through in how they had to operate. Yeah, and Bill will tell you just, as a teenage kid going through, he didn't finish high school. He eventually got his master's later, but here you are, a teenage kid, and to become qualified in a submarine, to earn your coveted Dolphin insignia pins, you have to learn the entire boat. And a submarine is the only naval ship that they call a boat for various reasons having to do with submersibility. Long story. But anyway, Bill and his crewmates, those who earned their qualifications, had to know how to run the diesel engines, how to fire the torpedoes, how to surface the ship, how to dive the ship. Every last component of it, in case they were the last man alive, in the event of a tragedy, as befell the Escuelas in 1939, you get qualified by knowing every inch of that boat. And he's very proud to tell you today he's 80-plus years qualified in subs, and probably one of the oldest guys that can say that today. Exactly. It's amazing stuff. For you, Stephen, as you came to, what did you get out of this as you went through this? I mean, you've written plenty of things before. You're a historian at heart, but just specifically in telling this tale, what has it done for you?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned, what was going on about the intelligence, the stalking of this carrier fleet, and what was going on where they had torpedo mishaps and things that are related in there. For me, it's always the personal stories. I enjoyed reading Walter Lord when I was young because he brought firsthand eyewitness stories to things like Pearl Harbor and Midway and the Titanic disaster. Not just boring history, but the personal aspects, and digging into diaries in the mind of Bill Dillon and George Rochek, the only survivor of both of those sinkings. Mm-hmm. What were you thinking? What was going on? I mean, that's what touched me. I mean, you're being pulled down by this carrier. You're sucking in lungfuls of ocean water. You see the light above you, and you're about to die. What keeps you fighting to try to hit the surface and survive? And the survival aspects of these stories, that always strikes me pretty heavy,
Well, it's a tremendous book, and I urge people to pick it up. Now available, Strike of the Sailfish. Stephen Moore, thanks for spending some time with our listeners and talking about this just incredible twist and turn of a tale. As we mentioned, I think some people knew the first part of this with the sculpin and the sailfish part, but they didn't realize what happened after that.
A lot to it. I appreciate you having me on to talk about it, and I hope a few people learn a little bit of American history and what some of our service personnel went through back in the 1940s.
Absolutely. All right, Stephen Moore there. Strike at the Sailfish, 2 sister submarines and the sinking of a Japanese aircraft carrier. Book is out this month, and pick it up. It's a good read. We're going to take a break and be back with more in just a moment.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers, Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
We're the talk of the peninsula. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Squim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Squim Valley Chapel in Squim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Squim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
In Squim, it's good to know you have a neighborhood auto parts store ready to help. A1 Auto and Marine has been locally owned for, well, a really long time, taking care of your car and marine needs since before even the Squim bypass. Whether it's a headlight, wiper blade, battery, or something a bit more complicated, the specialist at A1 has the right part to keep you on the road. A1 Auto Parts and Marine, right across from Sunshine Cafe, downtown Squim.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Sail away to Victoria, BC on the Coho to see the magic of Christmas at the Butch Art Gardens. Stroll through the 12 days of Christmas displays with nearly 1 million twinkling lights from December 1st through the 31st. Overnight packages from $169 USD per person, based on double occupancy. Packages include ferry fare, a hotel stay in Victoria, and admission and shuttle to the Butch Art Gardens. What a great gift for a loved one, or yourself. Learn more at cohoferry.com.
And our final segment, our own Amanda Bacon got to sit down with legendary rock and roller Dee Snider of Twisted Sister. They're talking about his new graphic novel, He's Not Gonna Take It. But more than 35 years ago, Twisted Sister's frontman marched into the United States Senate's Committee on Commerce in a jean jacket and tank top to confront a band of concerned Washington housewives hell-bent on silencing the howl of metal and beyond. Dee talks about that and freedom of speech in this Bacon bit.
Oh, Dee, you are such a freaking legend. I can't believe I get to chat with you. What a badass. I just love you.
Thank you. I appreciate the appreciation.
All right, so talk to me about this book. He's Not Gonna Take It. I wonder where that title came from.
Well, yeah, that's just to say I've just become Mr. He's not going to take it with life. Just it turned out that way. But, Z2 Comics felt that the C word, censorship, that's the new C word, is hotter than ever. And historically, my appearance in Washington to fight censorship in 1985, when they wanted to censor rock and roll, that it's an important story. It's a timely story. And there are some people that want prefer to get some prefer to get their books in audio form, some prefer to get it in comic book form. So they decided to do a graphic novel, but they didn't want to just tell the story of me being in Washington. They wanted to examine how I became, my life's path crossed that moment in time, and I became the voice, the needed voice at that time. So they literally go back to the cradle. There is a frame in that book of me in a cradle looking up at my parents. So they go all the way back and follow me to September 19th, 1985, a day that will live in infamy.
Did you ever think that you would be the voice of basically reason in all of this?
Boy, I love that you use that phrase, because I often refer to myself as the VOR, the voice of reason, because I really am a moderate. I'm very outspoken, and by the way, each side gets very upset when I speak against them, because I am I have voted Republican, Independent, Democrat. I've got too many guns, but I'm an environmentalist who drives a Hummer and a Tesla, and people go, wait, those things are not mutually exclusive. And, in the moderate world, the wide range of moderates, we try to make the best of it. We try to figure it out. We try to do the right thing. And it's not always going to agree with your extreme left or right position. So, I didn't ever think that I would become that kid. And by the way, what the book discovers is that I was told to shut up my whole life. My whole life, it was a shush. Know your place. I wasn't a popular kid. I didn't fit in. Shush. Be quiet. And finally, I said, I'm not being quiet anymore. And once I got that mic, I never shut up. So and I'm still not shutting up.
Good. What made you discover that you were like an amazing rock star? I mean, like, what was that moment?
I knew it before anybody else knew it, because, being not a popular kid, I was never out hanging out or at the parties. So I was in my room listening to rock and acting out in front of a mirror every day, in the mirror with, the hairbrush, and just rocking and singing and posing. And people say, boy, you're really good at that. I go, well, I did it in front of a mirror for like 20 years. So now I was ready for to get on stage. So, again, it's this weird self-confidence you have when nobody is cheering you on. It's odd. You talk about that moment in Washington, and I see those videos of me walking in and I'm wearing, everybody else was all in suits, and I'm wearing a cutoff denim. My hair's out to here. I put mascara on. Yet I somehow managed to get in there and sit down and make sense to people that weren't willing to listen to any sense, So, so this is why this is why in Hollywood they're talking about making a movie about this now. I mean, it was a moment in time.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about this. I mean, you were fighting for freedom of speech when rock and roll was still, I mean, I'm not going to say tame, because rock and roll isn't about being tame.
Tame.
Yeah,
it was tame.
When you look at like WAP, now, I mean, when you look at these songs that are out that are getting play on the radio, it's like, okay, so what changed? I mean, why is this okay, but that wasn't?
Well, the list was called the Filthy 15, and I was on there with We're Not Going to Take It. Twisted Sister was, but Cyndi Lauper was on there, Bruce Springsteen, Madonna, Prince, Judas Priest was on there. It wasn't all metal bands, and there was no hip hop, because hip hop wasn't a thing. And cut to 3 years later, and it's Two Live Crew, and Two Live Crew, I should say, and people are praying to bring back the 80s. That was so tame. It was innuendo. We used innuendo. Oh my God, slide it in. What is he talking about? Okay. So
clearly a baseball reference. Clearly a baseball reference.
Yes. Sink the Pink, AC/DC. Ooh, what are they talking about? Pool? So they're shooting pool, but it's pink. Okay. Innuendo. Then you got to the hip hop bands, and they're just saying it like it is. Yeah. I think once that happened, minds were just blown, and they couldn't even. We couldn't reel it back in anymore. There was no chance of stopping it.
Wow. So where do you think we stand now as far as censorship? Do you think that it has gotten out of hand, or where are you at on that?
I'm really glad you brought that up. It's such a topic, and why people are constantly talking to me about it, because it is at a crossroads. And I am very concerned. Look, it is a human right. It is our right to free speech. But there are many, many countries, many places in this world that don't have free speech, where you put to death for speaking freely. So we're blessed to have that right, but it's also a responsibility. And in the simplest form I could put it, online bullying.
Oh my God.
If you go online and you say Nancy had sex with the football team when she did not, that is not you using your free speech. That is an outright lie with intent to do harm, potentially lethal harm, because many of these kids being bullied commit suicide. That is not free speech, and people have to learn and understand that. The forefathers never intended for us to be allowed to run into a crowded movie theater and shout fire when there is not one, because it is a lie and it could hurt people. So this is the problem. People think, oh, I'm expressing my free speech by saying anything I want to say. The Elon Musk insanity of, anarchist free speech. He's an idiot. He's a genius idiot. Okay.
It's a conundrum.
No, it's a responsibility that we all have. And that's my biggest concern, is that people remember that with freedom of speech comes responsibility.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Kick off this festive season with the classic holiday Murder in Ken Ludwig's A Game's Afoot, or Homes for the Holidays. It's Christmas Eve, 1936. William Gillette, an actor famous for his portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, has invited his fellow cast members to his Connecticut castle for a weekend of revelry.
Why would he build a castle on the Connecticut River?
Why does Gillette do anything? The man is insane.
But when one of the guests is stabbed to death, the festivities in this isolated house of tricks and mirrors quickly turns dangerous. Then it's up to Gillette himself, as he assumes the persona of his beloved Holmes, to track down the killer before the next victim appears. This glittering whodunit has murder, infidelity, wit, and surprises. There's something for everyone. Live at Olympic Theater Arts, running December 1st through 17th.
For tickets, go to olympictheaterarts.org. Hey Herbie, has the Kiwanis Club gone nuts?
Yes, we have. It's the Kiwanis Nuts fundraiser, on sale now for your holiday gift giving.
This is Kevin and Herbie from the Kiwanis Noon Club, inviting you to join us in Going Nuts.
These are the same great nut products you've come to love, offering both mixed nuts, including almonds, cashews, pecans, Brazil nuts, and pistachios, all delicately roasted and lightly seasoned with sea salt. All profits from nut sales will go to the many Kiwanis community service projects, such as back-to-school supplies and college scholarships for high school students.
So come on, everyone. Let's go nuts this holiday and get your Kiwanis Nuts now at Jim's Pharmacy, Thurman Supply, and the week of December 18th, you'll see Kiwanis members on site selling these scrumptious holiday nuts at Swain's General Store. Yeah, they're great for a gift, but oh so good to enjoy some yourself. See you at Swain's the week of December 18th and get your Kiwanis Nuts.
This is Jonathan Pasternak, Artistic Director of the Port Angeles Symphony. Join me and 65 of our community's finest musicians for the Symphony's annual holiday concert, Saturday, December 9th at the Port Angeles Performing Arts Center. Come experience the thrill of live orchestral music while enjoying festive and seasonal selections, plus the return of our Christmas Carol sing-along. Our special guest artist will be guitar virtuoso Colin Davin, performing Joaquin Rodrigo's Fantasía para un Gentilhombre. Our holiday concert on Saturday, December 9th is the Port Angeles Symphony's most popular concert of the year, so don't miss out. Get your tickets today, online at portangelessymphony.org, by phone at 457-5579, or in person at Port Book and News in downtown Port Angeles. See you at the Symphony.
Online at myclallamcounty.com. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News,
I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. Israel says its troops have entered Gaza's second largest city, the assault pushing out more displaced Palestinians from areas they were previously told to seek safety. ABC's Inez de la Quatara is in Tel Aviv.
The IDF is in the heart of Khan Yunis. They are also in the heart of Jabalia. They say they have been engaging with terror targets there. And in fact, the IDF saying that today was the most intense day of fighting since the beginning of this ground operation. They say